So for the past 2 weeks, I've been away visiting this little place called
The United Kingdom?
You may have heard of it. I went for the Awdry Extravaganza event at the Talyllyn Railway in Wales, and afterwards went around and visited several railways with my 3 friends here, Brandon, Nimmo, and Mads. This is a video showing everything we did and saw. I hope you enjoy. We arrived at the Talyllyn on Friday, July 22nd. Even though the event didn't start until the next day, the area was in full party mode. Several Thomas fans were already there, many of the engines were out, and even Sir Hayden, fresh out of the workshop following some maintenance, was out and about. We spent most of the first day at Llanfair, the Talyllyn's garden railway. As someone who has very rarely seen live steam models in use before, seeing everyone break out their models for a lap around the circuit was super fun.
There he goes! Here it comes. Yeah, that's it.
Come on.
Yeah. I was going to say something like that. No, not yet. We are not having a what? Is this Wrigley? What? What's going on there?
I think he's about had it.
Yeah, he's almost out.
Saturday, the festivities began. The Awdry Extravaganza is an annual celebration weekend at the Talyllyn, where everything Wilbert Awdry, aka the creator of Thomas the Tank Engine, is honored and on display. The event kicked off unveiling a brand new face for their Peter Sam, which was designed by Mads. It looked fantastic. Much prefer it to the weird Nick Cage looking face they were using before. The event had a special exhibition showcasing several original Railway Series illustrations, track plans for Awdry's proposed layouts, and much, much more. One of the crown jewels on display was the large-scale Skjalg prop from the TV series, alongside a scale model of Talyllyn. I was befuddled at how accurate the proportions of the large-scale narrow-gauge props are to the actual engines. I always assumed that they were much chunkier for some reason. Many fans brought their own models and put on their own show at Wharf. I am endlessly amazed at the modeling talents of people in this fandom. Absolutely bonkers how detailed some of these are. I also got to drive Rusty. That was fun.
Did you break it?
The special train on Saturday was called the Picnic, hauled by Peter Sam sporting special Stuart nameplates. On this train, me, Max Davies, and Michael White were all interviewed by Tim Dunn on how Awdry's creation changed our lives. Link to that live stream is in the description. Sunday was the special photo charter train, and this was the funnest event of all that weekend. This special train, hauled by Peter Sam, would be stopped at certain locations for the passengers to get out, and then they'd pose the engine to recreate illustrations from the books.
Here we go.
The Awdry Extravaganza was absolutely the highlight of the whole trip. It was so much fun meeting various fans and just goofing around on this little railway. I really have to give Luke Ryan a shout out for all his work into making this event happening. It was an absolute blast. If it happens again next year, I highly recommend going. If you can, of course. Sunday morning we drove up to the Corris Railway, which is only about 20 minutes from the Talyllyn. Number 7 was there, out and about. The Corris is only a tiny little railway at present, but they have big plans for the future. A new Falcon is in the works, which is due to steam in September. Monday we attempted to ride the Festiniog Railway out of Portmadoc, but unfortunately all the trains were sold out, so we didn't get a chance. So we went to the Welsh Highland Heritage Railway instead, and saw some of the engines they had on display in their museum. Tuesday, we left Wales for England, and on the way out, we stopped at the Welshpool and Llanfair Railway. Thankfully, the Earl was out that day, so we rode behind him.
Bear in mind, you can have it wing for both that way and that way as well. That's true.
We were very lucky, as the coach coupled to the engine had a balcony. We spent the entire trip on the balcony right next to the engine. The Welshpool is a very hilly line, so there were plenty of opportunities to hear the engine working hard as it hauled the train up those steep gradients. Welshpool is a very underrated line, I think. I really enjoyed visiting this one. Highly recommend it. We made our way to Kidderminster, and Wednesday we did the Severn Valley Railway. Our train was an interesting one. A double-header with a Great Western 1500 class pannier, and a Class 20 in London Transport Maroon. We stopped at the museum at Hythe and saw a lot of engines there. On display was Gordon, a London Transport Pannier, God, I love this livery, an 8F, and much, much more. On the train back, I ran out of the coach at Bewdley to get quick shots of Taw Valley in purple, which was painted so in honor of Queen Elizabeth's 70th anniversary jubilee this year. I don't care what anyone thinks. I think this is a gorgeous livery. More engines and wacky preservation liveries, please. I think we've all had enough of boring BR green and black. Back at Kidderminster, our friend Kenny, who we met at the Talyllyn, gave us a private tour of the diesel yard. We saw a Class 40, a Western, a warship, aka Diesel 10, sadly without claw, a Class 46, aka D199, and a Hythe, aka Bear. Reference. We even rode in the cab of the 08 with the greatest name an engine has ever been given on God's green earth. Super fun time at the Severn Valley. Thanks for showing us around, Kenny. By Thursday, we were back in London, and we were prepared to take the train out of King's Cross up to York to hit up the National Railway Museum. Brandon and I even bought special shirts for the occasion. Luck was not on our side, though. Due to rail strikes the day before, our train that morning to York was cancelled, and we didn't know it until we got to King's Cross. Our ironic don't like train shirts actually turned out to be totally sincere that day. So we had a London day instead. We hit up the London Transport Museum and finally saw the Beyer-Peacock Metropolitan engine, an engine I've wanted to see for ages. It was definitely bigger than I thought it'd be. We saw a lot of old buses and trams there, which of course were far more interesting to us because we didn't like trains that day. Friday was the first day of the big Terrier Gala at the Bluebell Railway. The oldest terrier of them all, Dymchurch, turned 150 years old this year, so several of the surviving ones were brought down in honor of it. including Poplar from the Kent and East Sussex, and Newport all the way from the Isle of Wight. Newport and Poplar double-headed trains that morning. It was such a fun sight seeing these two paired up. Nimmo works at the Bluebell, and the lucky guy got to fire Newport that day, so the rest of us just basically followed that train around. Friday was an absolutely chaotic day at the Bluebell. It seemed everything that could go wrong that day went wrong. The first mishap was a line-side fire set by the Q class that departed before us. Our train was stopped and Newport and Poplar put the fire out. That was pretty neat to see. Second mishap was, well, Poplar died. One of its conrods bent en route and the engine had to be taken off the train. Poor guy was stranded at Horsted Canes all day while the crew removed the broken parts off it, leaving Newport the sole working Terrier at the big Terrier Gala. They took Newport off the train and popped him on with the 01 class, back to back. Quite a lot of shuffling trains around at Horsted that day. It was a pretty interesting sight for the average passenger. The third mishap was another line-side fire, again set by the Q class. This one was huge, set the whole cutting ablaze near the bridge at Horsted, and the fire department was called. They put it out thankfully, but all trains were halted until then. Some might complain that that day went very poorly operations-wise, but I thought it was exciting. You could have just sat at a bench at Horsted all day and all of this crazy stuff would have just happened around you. We went to Sheffield Park too, of course, and saw all the engines in the sheds, including Bluebell, Captain Baxter, and Fenchurch, nearly complete from its overhaul. Oh yeah, and Stepney, but who cares about him, right? The day ended with us watching poor Poplar getting towed away by the diesel. Kind of an eerie sight, huh?
Got you this time, Stepney.
Saturday, we hit up the Romney, Hythe, and Dymchurch Railway. This is a 15-inch gauge miniature railway. The engines are all tinier than us. The railway runs out to Dungeness, which is the weirdest place in England, period. It's all flat marshland on the ocean. All sand and no trees in sight. It's like a desert in England. It felt very surreal being there. Mads left on Sunday, and Brandon left Monday morning, so the last day was just me and Nimmo. We spent the last day of the trip at the Hants Railway. Of all the engines to end the trip with, Cheltenham was a damn good one. and I guess we saw their Thomas too, but who cares about that one, right? This UK trip was an absolute blast. Never before have I ever felt a part of a community more than I did on this trip. It was so much fun meeting all the Thomas fans at the Awdry event, and all the volunteers and railway people we met along the way were so welcoming and friendly. England is a railway country, and it's very clear they are very proud of that history. Stay classy, United Kingdom, 'cause I will be back.